when I think about boldness, there is that worldly boldness and there's biblical boldness, and I'm going to get into that. But I want to read you something. I found it on the internet, so it's got to be true. No, not true, not true. Or maybe it is true. I don't know if it's true. I think we have it up on the screen. I'm going to look, and there it is. This is, let me read it to you. Be bold. Don't live in a spirit of fear. Boldness is our willingness to venture out and do the right thing at the right time, regardless of the barriers or fears we may encounter. This enables us to speak the truth and perform a task without fear of the consequences or results because it is the right biblical thing to do. It is realizing that God is in control. He is there within and beside us, and he will take care of us, and therefore we do not need to fear what others can do. Rather, we are to concentrate on our character and call, and with passion and conviction share with others what Christ has done for us. That is biblical forgiveness. Biblical boldness. Donald Trump, on the other hand, and I say on the other hand, look, he's done a lot of really bold moves, and evangelical Christians are really excited about it. And there's a list. I wrote it down here. He typed it up for me. No, he didn't. Maybe he did. He's like, look, you got to read this in the pulpit. But look, he's the most pro-life president ever, for sure. He was in a debate during the campaign where he talked about partial birth abortion. I don't know if you remember that. Donald Trump talking about God having a sense of humor. He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He's embracing evangelicals, giving them a state dinner-like reception at the White House. And they're all around him. Bold moves on North Korea. Just ask a Little Rocket Man or whatever his name is. The Iran nuclear deal. Immigration, okay, we'll come back to that one, but he's been bold. And of course, he wants to do this space force, right, this bold space force. However, that's all wonderful. And God, look, there is something to be said about boldness and being strong, and those are actions that seem to fit mostly Judeo-Christian values. But on Twitter, that's where we see a little bit of the worldly boldness come out. A bit of arrogance, a bit of controversial statements, if you will. I want to play a video. This was actually south of Los Angeles. Is it Palos Verdes? Palos Verdes. Why do I do this? Am I Italian? I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. Anyhow, so we're on his golf course. Which the first thing he says to me on the golf course, he goes, how much I pay for it. Take a guess. I'm like, I don't know, $1 billion? He's like, keep going. Anyhow, so we're on his golf course, and this is during the campaign. This is about 3 months after he announced, and I'm going to warn you now, we see him driving in this video. He's driving a golf cart. I'm like, you drive? You have a license for this thing? And he talked a little bit about how he loves Twitter, and I thought I'd share this with you. Have a look.
We'll go on.
This will go on. Here's my question. Tell me about your tweeting skills. What's the deal on that? Are you really, what do you say, hey, I want to tweet this? How does this go on? What goes on?
Well, between Twitter and Facebook, I guess I'm about 8 million people or more, and I tweet myself. Now, sometimes I'll dictate during the day, right, but during the evening, when you see it after about 7 o'clock, usually it's me actually doing the work, and I have fun doing it, and I have great people. it's at Real Donald Trump, and I have a tremendous following and many evangelicals, as you know, and I tweet myself.
Let me ask you another on-the-record question. And you're driving, this is called multitasking. You're driving, asking a question. I'll ask you about Putin. What's President Trump going to do with Putin? This guy's going into Syria, he's going into Ukraine. What's the deal?
David, he has no respect for President Obama whatsoever, and he will respect me, believe me, and he will respect our country again. I will actually get along with Putin, and I believe we will have a good relationship with Russia. Now, that's always subject to change, and maybe I'm wrong, but I will tell you, whether we have good or bad, he will respect us again.
All right, good.
Anyhow, we'll go on.
This will go on. Here's my question. That's there. So anyhow, it just gives you a sense, a little bit of Donald Trump and his tweeting skills. I will say this, that he's definitely confrontational on Twitter. It is worldly boldness. It's more about him. And with God, it has to be about Christ-like boldness. It needs to be about him, capital H. And so that really is the difference. David, King David, What a wonderful example of boldness. We know the story, and of course, the one line that sticks out to me, he says, this is David speaking, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin. I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." I love that, so bold. And then I thought to myself, what if Donald Trump had said that same line? So can I read you from the Trump Message Bible? This is what I think Trump would say if he was saying that same line. Here's what I come up with. "Hey, Goliath, little Philistine, you cometh to me with a big old wimpy sword and with a ridiculous-looking spear and with a weak shield, which you totally overpaid for. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts," great guy, by the way, the greatest, "the God of the armies of Israel," lots of armies, tons of them, "whom thou hast defied, and you're now going to pay, and you're going to pay big league. This day will the Lord deliver thee into my hand." Trust me, he's going to do it. So true, so true. "And all this assembly ever shall know that the Lord saveth, not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he always wins it." Trust me, he does. "And he will give you into our hands." And I love when he does that. He's so loyal, so loyal. So, yeah. The point of reading that is that from the Donald Trump Message Bible, it's about him. And it's a little bit about the arrogance. And that is not Christ-like boldness. But God can use Donald Trump in wonderful, bold ways. And the good news is there's a lot of Christians around him right now. As we know in Washington, he is actually seeking out Mike Pence for prayer and many other folks around him. And so as we like to say, he's a work in progress, but aren't we all? Aren't we all?